Hiya. It's actually Friday morning at the end of the week. This is actually part of the vlog. You might have thought, why is that vlog going to be so short? But there will be vlog come along. I'm late with the last one. You might get two joined up together, or you might get, you know, one like over a week late, and then whatever. But yeah, this is just a little rant, I suppose, advice type thing. Don't get thought of, if you're doing in this business of gardening, don't get thought of as being Mr. Cheap. I used to be, not so much nowadays. You know, my customers are quite good, that we get paid fairly and everything. You know, we're not, you know, we do it, it's our job. It's not like an after work thing where you get these people that go and they call them, I think they call them weekend warriors or whatever, and go in the evenings and weekends and do their gardening after they've got their wage packet from work. All these retired people that are on well, a lot of them on decent pension, and they do it on top of that, so they can be cheaper in that way. So don't try to be caught up on one of them, because if it's your main job, it's your main job. You've got to be serious about what you charge, because that's the way it has to be, because you need X amount of money to live and pay your bills. So if you actually do things cheap, you're going to struggle, and people aren't going to care. They're going to think, oh, well, I got that grass cut cheap, or I got that hedge cut cheap, or fencing or whatever, got that done cheap. So yeah, it's good for them, but it's not good for yourself. I had an occasion this week, a few days ago. I had someone phone me. I've known him for a long time, and I was iffy about how much he'd want to actually pay for the job. I got a bit confused what he asked about. He said trellis and fence panels, so I thought, oh, he wants them replaced. So I thought, yep, I might be able to go and have a, well, I arranged to go and have a look anyway. So I went to look, and in the evening, so I had to put myself out, and it happened to be painting these things rather than replacing them, and it's not my sort of thing really. I will do a bit of painting, and but if I do painting, the sort of materials like paint and that what I use would be my choice, because I've got a good idea what paint will cover well and everything. These fence panels were blue, and he wanted them painted brown, so alarm bells rung straight away. I thought, the one colour ain't gonna cut that. So probably with the area, there was like a shed front and some panels in that, probably the equivalent of 8 to 10 panels, I suppose. But they would have had been gone over 2 or 3 times with this cheap fence paint. So I had a look and thought about it. Didn't give a price while I was there. There was a few bits of weeding in the garden as well. They'd already weed killed it. It wasn't a very big garden, it was gravel. A horrible garden really, to be honest. But they're selling the house. So I know that he isn't too hard up, but I knew he wouldn't want to pay that much. So I priced it on what I priced it basically about a morning for 2 of us, because if it was going to be 3 hours or whatever, it'd take out the biggest chunk of the morning. So I put a morning price on it, and what we would charge anybody else, like where we are now, he's as good as gold, you know, no expense spared sort of thing. And then I priced it sort of like I'd price a job here, or the one I do up the road, or whatever. Haven't heard nothing back. I'm not surprised, but he was hassling me. But what made me start to think about it, he said, oh, I got in contact with you because this annoyed me a little bit actually. He said, because I'd arranged for a bloke up the road to do it, some bloke up the estate to do it, and I haven't heard back from him, so first come first serve sort of thing. So I went there, give a price, did what I should do, but I don't think I'll hear from that. If I do, I'd be surprised, but you never know. But you know, I priced it sensibly. You know, I'm not a charity, so I'm not bothered, because I've got work to do here, got extra work to do and one up the road, and a couple of other jobs have kicked in what I did last year, so it's not like I needed the work anyway. Yeah, it's just don't sort of cave into you know, doing something cheap, because he's not a friend, but I've known him for a long time. So I always make it always makes it a little, I think it makes it a bit difficult when you know the person. If you go and see a stranger to price them, it is better. I prefer to deal with people like that. Family or friends or people you've known a long time, it is a lot more difficult, I think. But I priced what I thought would be fair, but I thought he wouldn't probably think it was fair, because some people, you can just sort of tell how they think. They just want, he probably thought we'd go there, you know, £10 an hour or whatever, and would be happy with that. But a painter wouldn't. A painter would put, well, it had to have 2 or 3 coats. Painter probably would have put a day on that, and they'd have charged their money for the day. So we would have been cheaper than what I imagine most painters are. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, really. Bit of advice: don't just feel, even if you're starting out, it's where you start, your level where you start. That's a bit of the problem, because if you're cheap to begin with, you've got to try and raise that with people you work for, because you could get regular customers and they're probably likely to keep you because you're cheap. But then we got stuck in a situation like that. A job I've been going to for, I finished it last year, but we've been going there about, how many years? It was about 7 years. Worked for the old people for 5 years, then the new people for 2 years. It was a 4-hour block job. And when the people changed, the old people were told the new people the price we charged, so it carried on the same amount. It never ever went up until the last sort of year when we put it up. Bit more realistic, but it still wasn't enough. That's how far it was lagging behind the other jobs we do. And actually 4 hours, 2 of us are 4 hours, it was actually taking up a good chunk of time a week. That was like, you know, work a week in 5 days, 10 sessions, 2 a day. It was taking on 1 session, and for quite poor money. So in the end, they sort of asked, we'd sort of priced for the grass, but then they asked a friend, their builder's friend to do it as well. I said I'd do it and priced it. Then he come back and said, oh yeah, I've changed my mind. He'd actually told us we could do it then. Then he changed his mind and said, no, I'm going to give it to him. So I said, well, we're not going to do all the rubbish around the edges, you know, the borders and all that. Because, you know, you've let us down on the grass. You know, if he'd done the grass himself, the customer, then fair enough. You know, he got this person to come in with this rubbishy little Mountfield mower he'd bought from B&Q or something. He was going to be doing it while we were doing all the rubbishy borders for less money, because I know he'd have been on decent money, this bloke, because where he had to travel from and that. So I quit that. That was a funny situation, quitting that, because we've been going there for so long, but it worked out. We didn't even miss it in the end. So yeah, don't price yourself too low, because it'll come back probably to, you'll regret it, or you'll land up not doing it for long and doing something else. Because bear in mind, I think minimum wage is well in sort of £8.50, £8.70, something like that. If you're going to do a job cheap with all your tools and everything, you know, say you start up gardening, you're £10 an hour, for example. If you, with your tools, fuel and everything, you might as well go and work at Tesco's or whatever, or Lidl or wherever, and get your minimum wage, because the hassle and that goes with it after work, you know, thinking about sorting your tools out, all your paperwork and all that, it wouldn't be worth it. So yeah, be realistic with your pricing, especially if you're starting out. People that have been in this game a long time will know exactly what I mean, and they'll have their prices. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. There's a 9-minute video. I'll do one of these every so often. I've got a few little sort of rants, moans that in the back of my head, where I'll sort of come up with every so often. But this is just a bit of a fill-in between the vlogs, really. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be along on another video again soon.